Imagine booking a vacation to one of the world's most iconic destinations, only to arrive and realize everything has changed. Beaches covered in Sargassum. Historic cities overrun with protests. Islands are so overwhelmed that locals are begging tourists to stay away. In 2025, some of the most beloved travel hotspots on Earth are now facing very real crises. From environmental disasters to collapsing tourism, overcrowding, crime, and infrastructure pushed to the breaking point. Today, we're revealing 7 once-loved destinations now in serious trouble, and how these changes could affect your future travel plans. Number 1, Florida. Florida isn't supposed to struggle. For decades, it's been the world's winter playground, especially for Canadians, who make up Florida's largest international tourism base and spend billions every year across the state. This year, however, something unusual is happening. Those longtime visitors are quietly pulling back. And this time, it isn't just about travel costs. It's about politics, tension, and a growing sense of discomfort. After months of tariff disputes, stricter entry rules for longer stays, and high-profile incidents at border crossings, many Canadians say the U.S. simply doesn't feel as welcoming as it once did. Travel surveys in Canada show winter travel intentions to the U.S. collapsing from 41% to just 26% this year. Among classic snowbirds, some who spent decades in Florida are now canceling multi-month stays, selling vacation homes, or looking to Mexico as a safer, friendlier alternative. Local business owners in South Florida say this is the first time in years they've seen Canadians walk away from deposits or avoid booking for the following season, a shift they describe as unprecedented. And the pressure doesn't end there. European airlines have reduced certain Florida routes, and British and EU travelers are choosing cheaper Caribbean destinations with fewer entry complications. For a state that depends heavily on foreign spending during the winter months, even a moderate decline sends shockwaves through hotels, rentals, and seasonal businesses. But while Florida's downturn is subtle, the next destination is dealing with something far more intense. Number 2, Barcelona. Barcelona was once Europe's golden child, where culture, food, and architecture danced in harmony. But in 2025, the city's relationship with tourism is reaching a breaking point. What once felt vibrant now feels suffocating, and locals aren't staying silent. In recent months, anti-tourism protests have erupted across the city, with banners telling visitors to go home and crowds marching through La Rambla and the Gothic Quarter. Residents demanding limits on cruise ships, short-term rentals, and the mass tourism that has pushed housing costs far out of reach. Even city officials admit it. The very thing that made Barcelona wealthy is now tearing it apart. Surging rents, disappearing long-term residents, and neighborhoods reshaped around visitor demand have created a full-blown cultural clash over the city's identity. Visitors arriving today say the tension is real. Some feel unwelcome in areas that were once warm and relaxed. Others are stunned by the sheer volume of people crowding narrow streets that used to feel intimate and calm. In recent years, Barcelona has welcomed tourist numbers several times larger than its population, and locals say the imbalance is simply unsustainable. For many residents, the message is clear. Barcelona isn't just dealing with overtourism. It's confronting a deeper crisis of belonging. But while Barcelona's crisis is loud and confrontational, the next destination faces a very different kind of pressure, one tied to heritage and survival itself. Number 3, Venice. Venice once felt timeless, a floating masterpiece where every canal whispered centuries of history. Yet today, the city is confronting a crisis so severe that locals now warn Venice is becoming a dying city. Around 30 million tourists visit each year, overwhelming a resident population that's fallen below 50,000. Nearly 90% are day trippers, flooding the city but leaving little economic benefit behind. That imbalance is pushing Venice to its limits. Travelers say the magic is still there, but harder to feel. Some describe shuffling shoulder to shoulder through alleys for minutes at a time. Others talk about waiting over an hour just to cross the Rialto Bridge or take a photo in St. Mark's Square, only to find the view blocked by hundreds of phones. Thousands of homes have vanished into vacation rentals, pricing locals out of their own city. Entire neighborhoods now feel curated for visitors, not Venetians. And rising waters, frequent flood alerts, and crumbling infrastructure remind everyone that Venice isn't just overcrowded. It's physically vulnerable. Locals say they feel like actors in a city-sized museum, watched, photographed, but no longer at home. Venice isn't just battling overtourism. It's fighting to preserve its soul while surviving the pressures of the modern world. And while Venice fights to protect its heritage, the next destination is facing a crisis shaped entirely by nature, one that's changing the experience overnight. Number 4. Cancun. Cancun has always promised the perfect escape: turquoise water, soft white sand, and effortless all-inclusive vacations. In recent years, that picture-perfect promise has been disrupted by a growing environmental crisis: massive waves of Sargassum washing ashore. For many travelers, the disappointment is immediate. What should be clear blue water can turn brown and murky overnight. Some describe walking toward the beach only to be hit by a strong, sulfur-like smell drifting in from the shoreline. One family who booked a week-long all-inclusive said they spent most of their trip at the pool because the beach was simply unusable. The smell and the water looked nothing like the photos. Resorts fight back with cleanup teams, barriers, and tractors, sometimes clearing the sand multiple times a day. But the seaweed arrives in unpredictable waves. 2 hotels just minutes apart can have completely different conditions, leaving travelers unsure of what they'll actually find when they arrive. For a destination built on picture-perfect beaches, this crisis cuts deep. Even a carefully planned vacation can be reshaped by forces no resort can fully control, turning a dream trip into a week spent indoors or by the pool. Cancun isn't just dealing with seaweed. It's facing an environmental shift that threatens its identity as the Caribbean's most reliable beach escape. And while Cancun struggles with nature, the next destination faces a crisis fueled by tourism itself, one where popularity is becoming a serious problem. Number 5. Santorini. Santorini is often seen as the crown jewel of the Greek islands, where blue domes, towering caldera cliffs, and glowing sunsets create one of the world's most iconic travel images. But recently, the island has been struggling under the weight of its own popularity, and the pressure is becoming impossible to ignore. On peak days, cruise ships can unload thousands of visitors at once, overwhelming narrow streets designed centuries ago. Travelers describe moving through Oia and Fira in slow, shoulder-to-shoulder lines, saying the villages feel full from sunrise to sunset. What once felt serene now feels permanently crowded. Infrastructure is stretched thin. Local officials warn that Santorini's water supply, waste systems, and transportation network weren't built for the millions who arrive each year. Residents say daily life has changed: longer waits, congested roads, and entire neighborhoods shifting toward short-term rentals instead of local homes. For tourists, the experience can be surprising. Many talk about difficulty finding quiet viewpoints, restaurants with long waits, and sunset spots so packed that people sit along rooftops, staircases, and every available ledge. The views remain stunning, but enjoying them has become more challenging than ever. Santorini isn't losing its beauty, it's losing its space, struggling to balance global demand with local reality. And while Santorini fights overcrowding, the next destination faces a completely different struggle, one tied to safety, scams, and growing traveler concern. Number 6. Thailand. Thailand has long been one of Asia's most beloved destinations, famous for warm hospitality, island escapes, and vibrant street life. These days, the country is facing growing traveler concerns that are beginning to reshape its reputation. Across major hotspots like Phuket, Bangkok, and Pattaya, reports of tourist-targeted scams have become more visible. Travelers mention taxi overcharging, aggressive jet ski operators, tour scams, and nightlife disputes that leave some feeling pressured or taken advantage of. These issues aren't new, but many visitors say they're becoming harder to ignore. The impact is showing. According to Reuters, Thailand has revised its tourism forecast down by 10%, a major setback for a country heavily dependent on visitor spending. What makes the decline stand out is that nearby destinations like Japan and Vietnam are seeing record surges, suggesting travelers aren't avoiding Asia. They're simply choosing alternatives. Tourists arriving today still find Thailand beautiful, but the effortless feeling it was known for has shifted. Many say they're more cautious at night, more selective with transportation, and more aware of common scams before they land. Thailand isn't losing its charm. It's losing the sense of ease that once made it feel uniquely welcoming. And while Thailand deals with rising caution, the final destination faces a crisis fueled by behavior, backlash, and frustration, reaching a breaking point. Number 7. Bali. Bali used to feel like the perfect escape, an island where temples, beaches, and warm culture created an easy, carefree kind of magic. But in 2025, that atmosphere is shifting. Instead of overcrowding or environmental issues, Bali's biggest challenge is something more personal: tourist behavior that many locals say has gone too far. Viral videos show visitors riding motorbikes without helmets, climbing sacred structures, posing in restricted temple areas, and ignoring local guidelines. Incidents that once seemed isolated now feel constant, and many Balinese residents say the island simply doesn't feel respected. The government has responded with a wave of new measures. Authorities have introduced stricter visa rules, higher fines, and dedicated tourist behavior teams tasked with addressing disturbances. Some temples have added new visitor restrictions, and the island is promoting a code of conduct that travel companies must share with guests. Travelers arriving today still find Bali stunning, but many notice the shift: more checkpoints, more reminders about appropriate behavior, and a local community that's increasingly vocal about boundaries. Some visitors even say they feel the need to be extra cautious about where they take photos or how they dress near sacred sites. Bali isn't rejecting tourism, it's redefining it, trying to protect the culture, calm, and respect that made the island famous in the first place. Every one of these places is changing for a reason, and many travelers are seeing it firsthand. So now I want to hear from you. Have you visited any of these destinations recently? Did you notice changes, challenges, or surprises we didn't mention? Share your experience in the comments. Your stories help other travelers prepare for their own trips, and together, we get a clearer picture of what's really happening around the world. Thanks for watching, and safe travels wherever you go next.